Welcome to the Songwriter Connection podcast, where we look at the craft of songwriting through the eyes of the songwriter. Each week, we make a connection with a music maker, listen to their songs, and hear their stories. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenihan.
Cue the band. Oh, yeah. We got a great show for you today, folks. Welcome to Dave's Church and Piano Bar on the Songwriter Connection podcast. We have back with us Marc-Alan Barnette. Hi, Mab.
Hello, Dave. How are you out there?
I'm doing really well. We've got 150 love songs in a row. No. Our guest is playing the piano right now. It's Vern. Listen to that.
Thank you, Dave, for inviting me.
Jay, thanks for being here, man. Listen to you.
I put a lot of bass players out of work. They hate me. Just ask them.
No, we all love you. Of course, I'm not a bass player, so what do I know? Jay is a 30-year-plus veteran of Music City. He has his own studio, Jay's Place, right on Music Row. So we've got so much to talk about because so many people have recorded there, including our guest, Marc-Alan Barnette. Hey,
Indeed. He's been my George Martin for about 27 years.
Ooh,
yeah.
So do we call him Sir Jay?
Sir Jay. That's
Sir
it.
Jay.
Yes, Sir Jay. Yeah.
Hey, Sir Jay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great.
I was in your studio not too long ago, and it's just really gorgeous.
Yeah.
Beautiful place.
No,
And
we did a song.
We did a song. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That was great.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. I remember we sang in front of a microphone, and you told me the story about this microphone. It just blew me away.
2 stories.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, this is not your run of the mill little microphone, but the story is amazing.
Well, I have 2 mics that are considered the holy grail of mics.
Holy grail of mics.
Mm-hmm, the holy grail. The first one would be it's called by many names, but usually it's called the Sinatra mic or the Beatle mic. It was George Martin's favorite mic. So it looks just like it's a Neumann U48. It looks like a 47, same mic, but it has one extra pattern, figure 8. And if you look at the Beatles, a couple of the videos, they're singing into this mic. It's not stereo.
No.
But it has two diaphragms in it. That's why they used it. But
you said diaphragm.
Yeah, and it's the U48. So that's about a $30,000 mic now, and it's considered the holy grail. They only made maybe 600, 800. But the real, I have even beyond that, the real holy grail, which is the Telefunken Elam 251.
Ooh, you microphone nerds out there, they're just going, whoa.
They are, because the day this mic was bought, I know the history of the mic. It took me 10 years to buy it.
Really?
Unused in the box, never used.
Wow.
1959, they were at Manny's Music Store, and they bought the mic for $800.
Wow.
And next to them, a guy said, "Hey, I bought the same mic at the cash register." It was Bobby Darin. He sang Mac the Knife on this model. Oh no, this is the mic. Yeah, rents for about $2,000 a day if you can find one.
Yeah,
they never come for sale. There's only about 15 or 20 left. Yeah,
that is crazy.
Telefunken, woo!
And we sang in front of that mic. Huh?
Yeah, you did,
Mark. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
That's absolutely crazy. Wow. Awesome. Let's get into your story a little bit. You started playing piano at the age of 5, I heard.
Tell your history there,
Jay. Tell me your history. 5 years old, you were playing?
I was born on a farm. Actually, I had a 40-acre cornfield next to my house that I grew up in. So I was in the country, but
Connecticut.
Yeah,
right?
I grew up in Middletown, Connecticut, small little town. We have Wesleyan College.
Yeah.
William Manchester, he wrote Death of a President. He was a teacher there.
Wow.
Dave Brubeck's kid was one of my classmates. I went to Wesleyan.
Did you?
For 1 year.
Yeah.
But I grew up in that small town, and my grandfather had a marching band.
Yeah, really?
Sicilian marching band.
Well,
not Italian.
There is a difference. There is. I know. My grandfather was Sicilian. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's the last name?
The last name was Nero. Nero. Mm-hmm.
No kidding.
I think they were from the Palermo area around there.
Yeah. I'm from the Catania side, which is Mount Etna, which I found out. I now work for the Sinatra family, by the way.
I was going to touch on that because you mentioned Sinatra.
Right.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that.
And he's from 1 hour from Catania, and I live 1 hour from Catania. I'm from 1 hour from Catania.
Well,
So, anyways, a little trivia.
Yeah,
and I'm the non-paisan in this particular.
So you came from a musical family.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We had my grandfather was a straight soprano player, like Kenny G.
Really?
But he played everything. He played guitar, violin, and my grandmother was a piano player. My mom was in a baby bassinet on stage when she was 2 years old. They did gigs. They did nickel dances.
Wow.
You know, so they did straight Sicilian, but they did popular music. And then my grandfather's son, my uncle, took me under his wing. He's a sax player.
Oh, wow.
And he put me in his bands when I was young. And, yeah.
Now you play other instruments too?
No, just organ.
Yeah. Organ, piano.
That's it.
Accordion.
Yeah.
Accordion? Accordion.
Squeeze box for you.
My mama's got a squeeze box. Yeah. Yeah. So Dave Brubeck, huh? That family. You a little take five there?
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Jay can play anything. Anything. As evidence of all the different bands and things over the years, you do jazz, you do pop, you do the piano bar thing at Sinatra's, you do it all.
Yeah, which works perfectly for studio because you got to be able to play a polka, and then bossa nova, and then a George Jones.
Yeah,
and you know what? I put in my time in country. People will say, "Well, you're from Connecticut. What do you know about country?" And I'll say, "Yeah. How many months did you play in Selma, Alabama?" Yeah, I put my dues in. So.
Yes, you did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
how did you get into the studio business, Jay? This is an interesting story.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll try to keep it short. I had my own band, and we were a Holiday Inn band. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, 6 nights a week was the norm. And you went from gig to gig. You might do 2 weeks at the most in one place. Mm-hmm. So we were in Washington, D.C., in Chuck Levin's Music, really famous music store on the East Coast. Had the lowest prices. We bought a 4-track because we were going to record the band and make a record.
There you go.
We got it back to the hotel. We couldn't even turn it on. It was a TX 4-track. So it sat in my van for a year. Oh, man. And then we just decided, sight unseen, to move to Nashville, Tennessee. I mean, it was crazy. I don't know. We just did it.
We
got here, got off at Fessler's Lane, lived on Murfreesboro Road, next to Purity Dairy, and the Alamo Court Plaza. But I started playing music at Pee-wee's Club, 51st and Centennial. Okay. In the Nations, which I don't know where that name came from. It wasn't called the Nations then. And I was playing for $30 a night for my first gig in Nashville, 9:30 to 2:30.
Wow!
And somebody said, "Hey, I'll give you $50 to record a song." I said, "I said, wait a minute, I have a tape recorder." So I went home and I figured out how to use it. I put a mic on it. I made my first demo in my little basement apartment in Madison, Tennessee.
Wow.
And honest, that's how it started. It was the mother of necessity or invention. I don't know. Yeah. Some mother started me.
For example.
No, I mean, it's more complicated than that, but that's how it started. I just saw that there was a need. And back then there was demo. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
We worked.
Lots of demos.
Marc-Alan will tell you. Yeah. 18 hours a day. Oh, it was the Garth Brooks heyday, who was my singer.
He was.
$25 a song.
You're kidding me. Wow.
Trish Yearwood, too.
Trisha.
Jody Messina, Aaron Tippin, Joe Diffie, my favorite of all time.
Wow.
He would go in the park. He would go in the parking lot. Never heard the songs. 10 o'clock session. 9:45.
Yeah.
5 songs. He would come in and sing those freaking 5 songs in like an hour and a half.
Wow.
No, Joe Diffie was the fastest, best I ever saw. Yeah.
That's a pro.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. So, wow, that's incredible. Incredible story. How did you meet? You and Mark.
Acapulco.
We
met at Acapulco.
I had a trio at one time, and a guy, Blake Addison, knew Jay, had recorded something with Jay and brought me to Jay, and I'd heard about him because I wrote and worked with a guy that we all know, Jimbo Henson.
Jimbo.
And I heard his name pop up, and we got together and we started doing something. I did one time, an 18 voice, my voice 18 times on an acapella.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So Jay and I began this relationship, and a lot of my stuff have been the tours that I do and people coming in from out of town. A great thing I always loved is like Jay would get the same players that were on the big time sessions. You guys from Cincinnati came up, and we did all of these people. people that would come in, and somebody like Canadians have to have a certain amount of Canadian content.
Exactly.
So we would get the players, and also it's a really much better story when you're doing a radio podcast. They say, well, who did you play on? Well, had Chris Lissinger who played on all the Garth Brooks stuff. Or do you want to say that? Or, well, it was John J. Johnson, who's down the street from me, who's a septic tank worker. You know? So that's the thing. And he has his knowledge of music is just astounding, and the players. So I call him George Martin because we have literally done songs. Because I'll always tell people, if you're writing songs, have a target in your mind. Who would if you could write a song? Anybody living or dead, who would you do that? And then we come in, we've done songs for the Beatles, Temptations.
We're super focused.
Yeah.
That's the problem with most people. They want to do another take.
Yeah.
We don't do another take.
Right.
We don't do what are you talking about? Just do it.
They're such pros. It's and again, I keep going back. First time I ever went into a studio and watched a band. We sat in the control room. They had it already charted out using that Nashville number system. Yep. Listened to the work tape about halfway through. Some of the guys making notes. They go in that studio and play it like they've been playing all their life. So no need for take two. There, boom, and you're like, what? How'd they do that?
Right. And part of your deal was getting ripped off when you first wanted to record.
Yeah.
What?
First, yep.
In the music business?
This is why his prices work the way they do.
Yeah, I've always, our first really big session in Nashville, well, I'll tell you, it was a 3-song demo. Now think about 1984. Mm-hmm. Think about $5,000 for a 3-song demo. Wow. It was like, in today's dollars, like $20,000. Yeah. It was a total rip-off scam, you know. But I mean, we had good players. I mean, the best. Oh my God, Mitch Humphreys and Pete Bordinale was on. I mean, all of the AAA team. But I mean, we got overcharged. You know, we didn't know what we were doing. And really, ever since that time, I decided I cannot do that to people.
No,
I can't. You know, try to do a good service for people.
That's great, and I love that you do that, because there are so many that still, even to this day, try to take advantage.
Yeah. 10,000 a song.
Yeah. So, Lane, let's talk about this songwriter connection. Say, we've got songs that we've written. Maybe we're out of town. Maybe we've just moved here. Demos are important to get them out there pitched, and a good professional demo when you're here in Nashville, because that's what you're up against. I'm sorry, I mean, they say a good guitar vocal, but really. They want to hear how it sounds
on the radio.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So they come to like Jay's place, right? And you sit down. How does it work? What do you recommend? What advice would you give?
Well, let's talk about what me and Marc-Alan do.
Okay, that's a good example.
Yeah. So he'll have an artist with a super rough song. I mean, sometimes it's not even a song.
Really? More like
and we do write a lot of the songs, not all of them, but we insert chords and we do arrangements. Mm-hmm. Something that really the songwriters are more poets than they are musicians. They might only know 3 chords. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not the truth. But so we can take a 3-chord song and make it a 30-chord song if we want to. We can really change things.
Or the opposite, when they've got 30 chords and they need 3.
We can. So he'll come to me with the songs, and before the artist ever gets there, we run over the song and we build the song.
Yeah. Through the chart that you were just talking about.
Right, with the chart. Mm-hmm. We take out the fat, we trim it, we do what we think would make it a hit record, because that's the point, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, some people, they don't. They want they're very picky about what they want, and some people aren't. If they let us do our thing, it usually comes out fantastic.
Yeah,
and so we do that, and then the people will come to the studio, and then we just guide them through the song. It's a demo. It's not a master recording. We don't spend days and days working on it. We do it super efficient.
But more and more today, you don't know where those songs are going to end up. They end up on radio podcasts. They end up on the internet, on Facebook, on YouTube. So they better really sound very, very good.
Right.
And you can't, the problem is a guitar vocal thing. Okay. If you're a songwriter today and you're trying to pitch songs, you've got literally hundreds, if not thousands, of songs that artists are listening to, and all of those are full produced. I call them recordings. I don't even call them demos anymore, because they're recordings. And if you're just throwing in a guitar vocal on that, it's not going to stand up. They're going to cut it off before it even gets into the
unless
song.
it's the best one ever done.
That's right.
Which, hey,
it happens. But
Adele's had music out where it's just her and a piano. It happens. But you're up against full-blown
But did
demos.
she write it?
Exactly.
See, that's the deal. If you're a songwriter and you're trying to pitch songs, today it's almost a totally inside business.
Yeah.
So if you're up against the person you're pitching to, you're up against them. Your competition is them.
Yeah.
So let's talk. In addition to, we were talking about guitar vocals. That's what you
there you go.
Guitar vocals.
Yep.
And so do you do? And is that important today? Do you do guitar vocals, piano vocals, that kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. But then there's different levels of demos that you do, right?
Yeah. Anything from just guitar and
or
vocal, piano, vocal, but
to full band and.
Depends on, that's where the price thing comes in.
Right.
But we've done many sessions with just me and a drummer.
Really?
Because drums, I can't recreate. I did program drums for probably on 10,000 records. I programmed drums. I played bass.
Wow.
I did it all because I couldn't afford a band.
That's the deal, trying to do it within a price.
Right, because our demos are, they sound like records, and they're the 1/100th of the price of what the record cost.
Do we want to talk costs? Is that something you want to mention?
It's like about $600 a song, full blown.
Full blown, though.
Oh no, sound like a master recording.
Tell you what, that's good today.
And that's everything. The arranging, we get together and arrange the song ahead of time. So that's called pre-production. That we produce it. And then
some people will want other things. Some people want saxes. Some people want a more horn, an R&B kind of thing. Well, that's an extra player, and this is explained to anyone who wants it before.
Our normal is just piano, bass, drums, guitars. Yeah. It's a 4-piece rhythm section, but you can do a lot with that.
You sure can.
The guitar player will do like 3 or 4 different guitars on it, so put a couple of keyboards. And then when we do, like when I sing with them, I do my own harmonies. Usually when you have a demo singer, they'll do their own harmonies and you don't have a bunch of singers, so it's a pretty great package.
That's great. And you know what the other cool thing about this is a Music Row studio.
That's right, still on Music Row.
On Music Row.
When I started, there was I've been through lots of documentation. Every committee I've been on to save Music Row. I'm a preservationist. I do not like developers.
Yeah,
because they've ruined Music Row, but it's still, a lot of it's still there, especially my block.
Yeah.
But when I started, there was documented 78 studios in 1990.
Wow.
I bought my place in 1990, Jay's place, and now there's 11 studios left.
11 left.
And I've been told by many people I'm the last independently owned. All these other places have 20 owners.
Wow.
They're not owned by somebody like me. No, I could be the last one left. I mean, I don't know.
Can I interject a little
Please
something?
do, Mark.
Jay is the only guy. This is something very, very honest, because I've been working in there and just been there. And he will let tourists come in and observe a session. He actually has a place.
Old school.
He has a place called Chateau on the Row, which is an apartment that people stay in and record in the studio. But he'll let people come in and take a look around. Wow. So anybody who's going through Nashville and sees Jay's place on 17th Avenue, you will see it. Chances are
we are a tour stop.
Yeah,
I have a sign.
The bus is stopped.
I have a sign that Shel Silverstein did for me. I produced
Shel Silverstein. Wow!
I produced part of a very iconic album called Old Dogs. I mean, it's super songwriter, secretive album. Nobody really knows it, but we did a song called "You're Still Gonna Die." You can take your vitamins, you can take your colonics, you can take them, but you're still gonna die. But so he did my sign for me. He did the artwork. So it's very iconic. It's the only artwork of Shel Silverstein in Nashville, Tennessee, as far as I know. And I'm a tour stop. All the tour buses stop there.
What a talented guy!
Shel, a boy named Sue.
My God! He wrote cover of the Rolling Stone.
That's right. Oh my!
That's an idea. How about some of the famous people you've worked with? You worked with Lorrie Morgan.
Yeah, I was Lorrie Morgan's band leader. That was my first real job in Nashville. Grand Ole Opry, 2 years.
Wow. Grand Ole Opry Band.
We had our own band for a year, and Dolly's brother Randy was my bass player, Randy Parton.
Wow.
Yep, Dave Salyer on guitar. It was a Doug Jernigan on steel, who still to this day is
one of the best.
The best. So we had a band. Then they fired all the bands from the Opry that year. It was about 1987, almost all of them. Oh, and they told her she could keep one person, so she kept me, and I stayed there for an extra year.
Wow!
Ended up playing her wedding to Keith Whitley.
Ah, how about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez. Wow. What a story.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So we were mentioning too that you still are so active. You're out there playing. You're doing jazz. You're playing in the new Sinatra. There's a new bar.
Dave, I should be retired.
I
really should be on a beach in Pensacola.
Oh, come on! You wouldn't have fun.
Absolutely no. I would hate it.
You would hate it because music is in your blood.
This is the busiest I've ever been. Yeah. I should be done.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
Honest, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm averaging 70 hours a week.
How many hats are you wearing this week?
Yeah.
Well, every week I work for the Miller Corporation, which owns Skull's Rainbow Room.
Okay, famous place here,
right? And they're partners with the Sinatra family. Mm-hmm. So on top of Skull's, they have now built Sinatra Bar and Lounge.
Oh, great!
So between the two places, I play 7 nights a week.
Unreal.
Which I said when I was 25. I said I'm never going to be. What am I going to be? 50 years old and playing 6 nights a week?
Man.
Well, it's another one of those things that we've all gone through because we all came from outside here. And, we run into these kids and then some older people. Well, I just want to come get a session gig until I can get to my career taken off. You got to work so many gigs.
Oh, you do.
If you're a songwriter, if you're an artist, if you're a musician, you've got to work dozens of things. Man. There is no I'm just a.
I'm not. That's right. Exactly. Yeah, right. I hate that word.
I do too.
I'm just a lyricist.
Yeah.
but I do that at nighttime, and during the day I do sessions. I also play for Nashville City. I'm a Metro Parks employee.
Really?
Yes, part-time. I play piano for ballet. So Metro Parks has had a ballet program for youth for 67 years. It's right. You know where Hog Heaven is?
Yeah.
Right behind Hog Heaven is a little place called CPAS, Centennial Parks Art Studios. Yeah. And so I've been playing ballet for 10 years there. Wow. And I absolutely love it. I'm not I studied classical, but I was terrible. And I can read a little bit. But I go in totally and fake all the music, and it sounds like Bruce Hornsby classical. Oh yeah, baby. But I'm telling you, it's so. I literally in my heyday there, when I was working 15 hours a week, I had to write 300 songs in my head a week.
Oh my God!
300 songs a week I had to come up with.
Wow!
Yeah. And I still do. I still work there. I also. I work for Ave.We Church, African Methodist Episcopal, which is the biggest African American church in the United States.
And you work for them?
It was the church for Whitney Houston.
Wow.
Aretha Franklin, which I've been to Aretha's house in Motown.
Oh my! No kidding.
So what
a musical journey, huh?
Right. So I'm music minister in the oldest black church in Tennessee, St. John.
No kidding.
I have a choir that's only 2 people, Brenda and Gail. It's the best show in town.
Is it really?
It's the most amazing music. And then I'm also the organist at Greater Bethel, which is right by Music Row. That's a 170-year-old church. We have a 20-person choir.
Wow.
We have a New Orleans gospel piano player that'll kill you. And I'm on B3. I'm on a 1957 B3 trying to play gospel music. Oh,
with
I love
Leslie
it.
spinning.
Right. So I do that. And then I have the vacation rental, which I run. It's an apartment in my studio that you can rent and record anything you want. And I'm the housemaid, so I clean that and rent, and I take care of the bookings.
And there's a sports podcast going on now, right?
Down in the
basement.
Yeah, in the basement we have the Raw Room.
The Raw,
which is a former NFL Titan player that has the show, and it's a great show. It's a podcast, and they have 200,000 followers. It's big.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is big. Yeah.
So that's some of the things that I do. I still play private parties and songwriter nights. And, just whatever we can do. And sessions. Yeah. And sessions is what I love the most.
That sounds more like 80, 90 hours a week, not 70.
It can be.
Wow. Especially to make time to put together the music in these churches, it's amazing. So let's see, in Dave's bar, let's pretend we're drinking a little scotch here at Dave's bar. Play us a little music, Jay.
other words, please be true. In other words, I love Dave.
Woo! This would be a good time for a break. Yes, Songwriter Connection podcast. Don't go away. Jay Vern, Marc-Alan Barnette are here.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection, connecting with music makers and hearing their songs and stories. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
Oh, yeah. And Jay Vern and Marc-Alan Barnette. A little commercial music here. As I tell you that if you're listening on YouTube, please like and subscribe. That really helps us. We're getting toward that time that we can monetize, and we're not even a video podcast yet. But please, if you do that, maybe we can get to the video a little bit sooner. So Marc-Alan Barnette is with us, and he does the Marc-Alan Barnette tours here in Nashville. And Jay's Place is a stop on your tour, isn't it?
Tour stop.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
What I do is I take people, there are 4 elements of any career in music that I always say, and that's creation of the song, presentation of the song live and recorded, networking, and business. And I take people from all over the world, literally all over the world, that come in, and some will want their catalog revised. Some will be, what are your best songs? Some will want to play a writer's night. Some people want to go through the songs, and I've written over 3,000 songs since 2003.
Wow!
With people, and a lot of them we bring them to Jay, and you go from the writing of the song, which I'm teaching the process of songwriting. And people do you shouldn't get paid to write. Well, you don't. I'm not getting paid to write. I'm getting paid to teach the process. And usually, if I do what I do right, I'll kind of advance people's knowledge of all of this by between 3 and 5 years in one day. And so it's a single day or a multiple day thing. And Jay is always a stop. And if people want to see the whole process, as a matter of fact, we had an interesting thing happen a few months ago that I met this woman who's an author. She's a book writer, and she's doing a book. It's a murder mystery of a songwriter in Nashville. There's a murder mystery that happens around a studio. And so I took her over. I ended up taking one of her, she had lyrics of a song, so I put music to it. And then we went to Jay's and did a small recording. And that's cool. She's going to end up having some songs to go in a CD with the book.
Wow.
And so it's just kind of like those kind of things come all the time. Today, I know everybody wants to be the next Taylor Swift, but there are all kinds of people that are doing music. Mark Monroe, we had him on here. People from in all forms of life that just want to do what I call legacy writing. There's nothing like you can go and take pictures on tour. You can go to New York and take pictures at the the studios in Empire State Building. But can you go to a place like Nashville and actually take a song that you wrote and have it recorded and go home with you?
In a Music Row
studio. Yeah. And so that's what my whole thing. I try to pull the curtain back on Nashville, good and bad. We're all about saving people money.
Yeah.
And people want to come in, they'll have 10, 12 songs, and they want to get them all recorded. Well, that's great, but man, let's go through the songs first to make sure that they're dead
the right
on.
ones. Yeah.
And so that's kind of my approach to everything.
That's good.
And could I do an example of what we...
Sure, absolutely. Please do.
I will ask any writer, if you could write a song for anybody living or dead, who would it be? And I had a girl come in, she just had never written before. She really couldn't say anything. And so I had to ask myself, if I could do anything, who would it be? Ray Charles. Ray Charles was my dad's favorite singer. I grew up not really realizing how much I had been influenced by Ray Charles.
Right.
And so one day I just came up, this whole song, she actually had a crush on a friend of mine who was a bartender. And so I kind of put all of that into this song. And I got to Jay and I said, let's Ray Charles this thing.
No, wait a minute. Before you do this, you've got to tell the Ray Charles story.
That's what I was going to say.
The Ray Charles story was I was 3 years old and I was with my parents got divorced when I was 7, so I don't remember much about them being together. My dad was on the road a lot. He had been a gospel quartet singer, but had stopped that by the time I came along. And he was working for Lockheed Aircraft in Atlanta, and we went to this we went to what they used to call supper clubs, where you would have this very formal dinner. And I remember I was with 10 people. I had my little suit that had the little shorts that, but it was a dress-up place, very fancy. Yeah. And so there was a guy playing piano, upright bass, and a sax player. And I just wandered away from the table. And I'm sitting, I wandered down, and I remembered everything about this, standing at the side of the stage with just kind of, it wasn't a big stage, it's just a little thing. And I'm just looking at it, and all of a sudden I felt myself lifted up, and I sat on this guy's, on his lap. And he put his hands over mine and played Sweet Georgia Brown.
Oh, gosh.
And,
wow.
And I always remember that, but I didn't remember, where it was and any of that. And about 2 years before he died, my dad said, "You know who that was?" I said, "No." He said, "That was Ray Charles." It was 1962. It was right before Ray came out with the modern hits of country and western music.
Wow.
And he would have his orchestra, but he'd have a little 3-piece group that would play.
He's doing the J. Vern thing.
He was doing the J. Vern thing. That's exactly right. But that was called the Chitlin Circuit back then. And that's what
it was, though.
Yeah. So that was a Ray Charles thing. Years later, I get into Joe Cocker, and then I get back to Ray. And now one day I'm writing this song, and this girl had no idea. And so I took her experiences of the crush on my friend, and I put it into something, and that's when
there we go. Yeah.
On my website and my CD, Marc-Alan Barnette, Life Well Lived. I had my eyes on you for the past 3 weeks. I tried to talk to you, but I could not speak. So tonight I got my carriage up, since liquid encouragement is back in fashion. You female bartenders must hear every line. This time look deep enough, and you just might find someone who overlooked, someone who just might be red hot passion. It's too soon to say it's a case of love. It's just one thing, I can't get caught up in a crazy little high school crush. Oh no, that's not for us. So when you get off tonight, look here to your right. I'll be right in this seat, ready to apply some heat to a slow burning fuse lit up for me and you. That's red hot passion. Take it, Jay. Jay Vern. That's his love. It's just one thing, I can't get caught up in a crazy little high school crush. Oh no, that's not for us. So when you get off tonight, look out to your right, Lord, I'll be right in this seat, ready to apply some heat to a slow burning fuse lit for me and you. That's red hot passion. It's a slow burning fuse lit up for me and you. That's red hot passion. Yeah. passion. You got the right one, girl. That's nice.
Marc-Alan Barnette, Charles.
Wow.
Yeah, and Jay Vern.
That song needs to be a hit.
That should
Come
be
on
a hit.
now,
Come on.
people.
It is with us.
That's all that matters.
That's one of my favorites.
I just flashed back a few years back before we moved here, coming up from Cincinnati. I used to come down from Cincinnati a lot. And there was a place called Lyrics. Remember?
Yes.
Remember
Oh,
up
my
on the-
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had a band that was playing blues music, and it was just so hot. Yeah, you guys together. Who else was in that? You still did-
Lyrics.
Yeah. Well, you had a great name for it, too.
Marc-Alan Barnette and the Don't Suck Too Bad Band. Marc-Alan Barnette, the Hunka Burnin' Love Band. Oh God, it was always. Yeah, here's another Jay thing.
God.
If you're doing bands,
Yeah.
you got to go 3 deep on every instrument. You got 3 guitar players, 3 keyboard players, 3 bass players. Same as in the studio.
And fortunately, in Nashville, there's a lot
of
players.
Yeah.
And in the studio, and so you got to get multiple people because you're doing original stuff. They got charts, but you got to have some people, and Jay can pull them up. But sometimes
Things happen.
Sometimes things happen. Now, here's a story about how you get into a session if you want to be a session player. Take it, Jay.
Well, I had a engineer that was his name was Scotty, great guy, great kid, and he came knocked on the door one day and he became my engineer.
Wow.
And so he was a drummer by trade, but not a session drummer. And
Having to work your way up.
At that point, I was having drummers like, Garth's band was my studio band before they were Garth's band. We were recorded at LSI across the street way before Garth was here.
Johnny Rodriguez?
It was Milton Sledge.
Garcia?
Milton Sledge on drums, Mike Chapman on bass, Chris Lusinger. So that was the band.
Wow.
And,
jeez.
wait a minute, get me back on track.
Well, Scotty is out there trying
Oh, yeah.
he wanted to be a drummer, but he's doing
Right. So we're in a session with all master session players. I mean, it's $200 an hour, and the drummer doesn't show up. It's 10 o'clock downbeat, so it's like 10 of 10. Scotty is outside. He was weeding. He was pulling up weeds. I said, Scotty, get your ass in here and get on drum. And he got a track on a master session. It was like a record.
Wow.
And he went from, almost, but that's how prepared you have to be when it's time for your shot.
Time.
I feel like I've only had 1 or 2 shots in this business ever.
Yeah.
But I was semi-prepared.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me about the first time.
The first time of,
You were prepared and it was right place, right time.
oh boy, right place, Dr. John.
Dr. John. Wow.
He goes to my acupuncturist, or did.
Yeah.
Dr. Shang.
Yeah.
Boy, the right place at the right time.
You got to prepare.
BJ Thomas would be.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, almost everything I do is I've never planned my career. Mm-hmm. I've never came here. I didn't come here to be a studio musician. I wanted to be, but I didn't know the path until I got that tape recorder idea, and so it was like really an accident, and then I grew on that. But right place at the right time would be, I guess I knew my first big break was getting on the Opry. Wow. So I knew Harry Wilkinson. He was a drummer. He played on Michael Martin Murphy's Wildfire. Oh, wow. So he was a friend of mine, and he played in a band called the Judd's husband had a band at Cajun's Wharf, and that's how I met Harry. And then one day Harry called me up and he said, "Man, Laurie needs a piano player." So I ran over there. Now, my first audition I flunked. When I first came to town, I auditioned for Jeannie C. Riley. Oh my God, Harper Valley!
Harper Valley.
We all went in a room down at Shoney's, and it was. I'm so glad I didn't get that gig.
Really,
I would have been a road dog.
And
I ended up being a session guy instead. Yeah. I didn't know, but that was the path I needed to take.
That's the path you needed.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We had Trey Ackerman on this show a while back. Yeah. He's got some great stories like that too. And his dad, Willie Ackerman's in the Musician Hall of Fame.
I played with Willie.
You played with him, yeah. I guess he was Hee-Haw drummer for
absolutely.
years. And before that was on the road dog with Farron Young. Yeah. And Farron Young,
the singing sheriff.
Yeah, singing sheriff. Pulled him aside one day and said, "Hey, You know, you can make a lot more money as a studio musician, Willie, and I can't afford to pay you anymore. So, and he said, "Well, you know what, though, Vern, you brought me to the dance. I'm going to be loyal to you. So I'm your guy. I mean, I want to stick with you." And he goes, "Well, in that case, you're fired." And he did. He like tripled his income the next year. You know,
he did it for a good reason.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, great guy. So, wow, that's interesting. I love to hear stories like that, where, like you said, he was pulling weeds, and the next thing you know, he's a big-time session drummer.
The other drummer was in the hospital at the time.
Right.
He was in a coma. Nobody could. So you literally just about have to wait till somebody dies to be able to move into the...
literally, yeah.
Unbelievable. Unreal.
We had two drummers die on us.
Yeah.
Tommy Wells, who was a Motown guy.
Oh, he played on thousands of our records. Yeah,
really.
But me and Marc-Alan, I don't know. I haven't counted, but it's it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's wacky.
Well, if you look at about 3,600 songs since I started teaching it in 2003, and most of those I came and we did the guitar vocal on some things. Then some things it would be Jay and me. I'd do guitar and he'd do keyboard. We call that level 2, and then we would start building to these different musicians. And at one time, I had Cliff and Bev and you guys. There was a whole bunch of people back when we were doing Stephen Sharp's thing.
That's right. The OCC.
And we had 19 songs in a couple of days.
Yeah,
and that
in one day.
In one day, yeah.
Wow.
We cut the tracks in one day for 19 songs.
Yeah. I think I had a couple of them.
Yeah, you did. I know you did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a group from Orange County, California. Our Cincinnati guys.
And Julie in Green Bay.
Julie in Green Bay. That's right.
Yeah.
Crivets.
Yeah, Crivets.
OCC. Yeah. And she went on to do some.
She went on. Megan Lindsay was her good buddy, and Megan went on to be on The Voice.
Right.
You guys. So that's just how all of this works. You never know where you're going to end up.
Yeah. Why we call this the connection?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. I mean, you make fun of the word networking, but it's true. You have to network. I mean, it's impossible. You can't do one thing in this town.
You can't.
No, there's no way.
That's why you wear so many hats.
Dave just had a #1 song in Australia.
Tasmania, which is part of Australia. So I'm counting it as an Australian #1.
Oh, man. You devil, you.
Just don't know where we're going to end up.
Jay, tell us about your new CD. You've done so many, but you said you never really did a record on yourself.
I've never recorded anything in my life on myself. I mean, a couple little work tapes here and there. But I decided to pay a little tribute to my grandfather, who wrote some music and had a Sicilian marching band, straight out of The Godfather. John Philip Sousa.
Wow.
And Sicilian only.
Oh, wow.
And they march for festivals. There's a lot of Italian. I'm from Connecticut. A lot of Italian festivals in Connecticut. And my uncle, to this day, he's on the back there, the sax player. He just turned 90, and he just marched the other day.
No kidding.
I'm going August 23rd. If anybody's in Danbury, Connecticut, I'm marching for the first time.
Oh, come on! You march when playing piano at the same.
Well,
how does that work?
I'm going to play cymbals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's called the San Gennaro Festival. Same as the one in New York, but it's in Danbury.
Yeah.
And I'm playing there on August 23rd, and I might take over the band. I've decided that I think I'm going to. No, I know you laughed. I'm going to have my own freaking march.
I love it.
No, I have all the charts. All I have to do is call the players, get on a plane, and play some cymbals. And my uncle's 90. I mean, he can't march forever, but he's been playing since he was 12 in this band.
I think that's
and Jeff Porcaro's dad played in this band. Drummer from Toto. Jeff Porcaro's dad was the #1 drummer of all time in L.A. Contractor, Joe Porcaro. Wow. And he played in that band. Emil Richards, who played bongos on Mission Impossible, the most iconic bongo part in the history of bongos.
That's the bongo solo.
Emil Richards is Emil Riccioni from Hartford. He was all Hartford, Connecticut people. He played in this band that's on this marching band, Sicilian. They're all Sicilians.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, little trivia.
You're going to have to pronounce that all the time.
Yeah, it's called The Songs of Sicily. If anybody wants one, just call me. I'll just give you one.
Okay.
Yeah, the greatest description. You said, if anybody's ever seen the movie The Godfather, that band that's in The Godfather.
Yes, they come out of a church and they're wearing white shirts and black pants. That was it. Yeah, and the most famous, my grandfather's most famous song is known in our town by the number it was in the book, number 7. Nobody even knows the title. They just know it as number 7. And so they would, in our town, we have, my saint is St. Sebastian. I was raised Catholic. Middletown, Connecticut. We have a sister city in Sicily. and we have the same saint, same church, stone for stone, the same church we built. Beautiful church.
Wow.
And our saint is Saint Sebastian. He's full of arrow. He got shot by Roman guards. But anyways, so we have a festival every year. They have a festival called St. Sebastian's Festival, and they march about a mile. And in the old days, they would literally stop at people's houses and have a plate of meatballs and spaghetti and keep marching. Yeah. No, it was it was a 2 or 3 hour march in the old days.
Oh, man.
They would march around town, and then we put the statue of the Virgin Mary on the float, and people would come up and pin dollars to it. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Classic.
Very
And so that
classic.
still happens in Connecticut. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Anyways.
I still have that mental image of him pushing his upright piano while he's playing in the band. Like I saw that in a Woody Allen movie.
That's right, Woody Allen cellist.
Yeah.
I saw that a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's funny. Well, that's great. So that's out there. You can get that. Oh, so your webpage and everything. People can reach you, and it's
not just on Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah, Jay's Place Recording.
Jay's Place Recording on Facebook.
Yep.
Follow it.
Yep.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. How about you guys play another one together? Can you? So we got like a half a band here.
Man,
I'd
right?
love to hear you, jam. Because we're at the dining room table, which is every bit the star of this show.
Yeah, exactly.
Antique Duncan Fife, and we're not just playing around the dining room table. Jay is playing. He has his piano on the Duncan Fife table, so we got to take advantage of that, guys. Yeah.
Let's do let's tribute Jimbo here.
Yeah,
I got a thing for you.
Oh, yeah, man, one of my favorites.
It's something I can't undo. Well, it's burning in my brain, it's boiling in my veins. I got a thing for you. You got a hold on me. It's one that won't let go of me. You got my heart on a chain. All you got to do is yank. I got a thing for you. Be careful how you use this power that you hold over me. 'Cause life like this ain't nothing to play with unless you're planning on playing kids. I got a thing for you. Something I can't undo. Well, it's burning in my brain, it's boiling in my veins. I got a thing for you. Play some more. Ain't nothing to play with unless you're planning on playing games. 'Cause I got a thing for you. Something I can't undo. It's burning in my brain, it's boiling in my veins. I got a thing for you. Jimbo's here to do this.
Come on, Jimbo.
Yeah, got a hold on me.
There he is.
One that but not let me down.
Oh, yeah, Jimbo.
You got my heart on a thing. All you got to do is yank. I got a thing for you.
I got a thing for you.
Yeah, I got a thing for you.
I got a thing for
Jimbo Henson.
The best. Oh, my God.
Hey, look, if you're not familiar with Jimbo, look him up.
Oh,
There's
boy.
even a movie about his life.
That's right.
Great guy. Beautiful Jim.
Yeah.
I watched it on YouTube. It's really worth watching. I know he was a dear friend. God rest his soul.
Oh,
he was.
Jeez.
Mark used to come up to Cincinnati, and he'd always talk about Jim, and he'd always do that imitation of Jim.
That's right.
And then one trip, Patty and I came up, and we went to Douglas Corner because we saw that Mark was going to be there, and that Jimbo was going to be there, and we had never met him, and we wanted to see him. Jimbo gets on stage, and he starts singing, and Patty and I died laughing. He probably thought, what the... The reason we were laughing so hard is because... that was the first time we heard him, and he sounded exactly
like him. I know.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah.
We're going, oh my God. Oh, we fell in love with that man.
I will tell you, in the studio, I have never seen anybody more of a perfectionist.
Yeah.
We would spend, with Kim Dribble and we would spend, because they wanted to get it perfect.
Yeah.
And that kind of doesn't exist too much anymore. I mean, really, Jimbo went above and beyond on every single song, every performance.
That's the way he was. And what a performer. He came up and did a few festivals for us and just... Entertainer, exactly right.
Yeah. Artist, but more of an entertainer. It was fun to watch him.
It really was.
I mean, who wants to go and see somebody, we know.
No, he would stand up there and he just grabbed you. He just, he loved you with his song, as my friend Kim says. Yeah, he was amazing.
One of the things that gave me an insight. A lot of the writers that I work with are not naturally performers, or some are younger and never had much stage experience. Yeah. So I make a suggestion: if you want to do this, come into town, let us record the songs. Go home and work on your vocals, because everybody hears stuff that they want to change. I could have done better. I didn't. Yeah. And come back a different time and then just do vocals on it, and that works out really much better.
That's a good point. Sir J. Vern is our guest, along with Marc-Alan Barnette on the. I can't let you leave without telling at least one Cincinnati story.
Yes,
because that's where I came from about 10 years ago. So come on,
you're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me.
No, there's no way.
No, I have been wanting to go to Cincinnati my whole life.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a chili thing.
Yeah,
we all know it.
Over spaghetti.
Now
piled high with cheese.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Now I always heard about it. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's put it this way. Empress Chili, do you know them?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They came to Nashville about 30 years ago and opened up 6 stores at once. You know how long they lasted?
No.
Yeah.
No?
Because people don't dig the cinnamon and the chili. Okay. But Connecticut, we have some very excellent chili places that have very similar, but it's... You're gonna kill me. It's really not chili. It's hot dog sauce to me.
Oh, okay.
To me, chili almost has to have the meat and the beans. To me,
which is a big feature of.
Okay, so now I play in Printer's Alley, which Skull's Rainbow Room, most incredible venue in the United States.
Oh, it's so.
Well, next door is Stacy Mitchhart. He's from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah.
He's played there for 29. Imagine having a 5-night-a-week gig for 29
years.
That's unbelievable.
That is
and
unbelievable.
He's a killer blues player.
Is he?
So during the pandemic, he calls me up. He goes, "Hey, I got a jazz gig in Cincinnati." I said, "Oh, my God, I've been wanting to go my whole life to see it." Because, you read about... all the famous people from Cincinnati. And I played in Ohio a ton, but never in Cincinnati.
Really?
So we get in the car, and it's only 2 hours. What, right? From here? What? 3?
That's about 4.
4? Okay. It was so close. I can't believe I ever went. Yeah. So we get to Cincinnati, and the first thing he did was take me on a tour. And let me tell you, I fell in love with that city. Yeah. It's all old buildings. There's no of this tear down. There's no tear down.
Yeah.
It looks way older than Nashville now because we've torn down so many buildings. We're starting to look tall and skinny.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
So anyways, I did the gig. It's a wine bar. I can't remember the name of it. It's right downtown. But it blew me away. For a small city, it had like 7 or 8 jazz clubs.
Yes.
I did a chili tour of 3 places.
Skylight?
Of course.
Yeah,
of course. I went to all the biggies, and it was, of course, fantastic. I had the chili pubs. I went crazy on the shit. No, it was amazing. It was. I just absolutely loved it. It was the highlight of my year this year.
Well, I guess you'd be going back then sometime, maybe. Absolutely. Yeah. Jay, I can't thank you enough for joining us. Dave's Piano Bar. We're on the dining room table. Take us out.
The Dave thing.
Some cool jazz, man.
The Preacher.
The Preacher.
Dave's preaching today.
Dave's Piano Bar. Yeah.
My new theme
If you're
song.
gonna find yourself
Open for
right
business.
where you are.
He's got some mimosas in the
Just
back.
make your way to Dave's place. Dave's Piano Bar.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Jay Vern. Thanks, Marc-Alan Barnette. Thank you for joining us on the
Try the veal.
Songwriter Connection. We're here all week.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Songwriter Connection. Also, listen to Dave Lanahan's Nashville Connections radio show. It streams live every Friday morning on WOBL and WNOI. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next time on Songwriter Connection.